teenage boy at the time who tried to do something about it, even if it meant tearing his family apart. Jackson Reffitt had been concerned about his father's behavior for months, but it was when he saw his dad on the Capitol steps on January 6th, he knew what he had to do. Call the FBI, and he did. Now the 22-year-old Texas native says he's fearing for his life after playing a major role in sending his own father, Guy Wesley Reffitt, to prison for his role in the January 6th insurrection. Guy, a member of the Texas 3 Percenters militia group, was serving a 7-year sentence after being convicted on 5 felony counts, including interfering with police in a riot and obstruction of an official proceeding. His case tied to tips that Jackson reported to the FBI in December of 2020, just days before January 6th. But beyond grappling with his dad's involvement in the violent attack, Jackson is also coping with the divide between himself and other members of his family. His mother, Nicole Reffitt, has been a huge supporter of her husband, even protesting outside the D.C. jail and calling for his release.
There's a lot of healing that has to be done. My husband's been incarcerated since January 16th of 2021. And, they took him from our home that morning in a pre-dawn raid. And I didn't see him again for 14 months, and he was the primary breadwinner. It was a very traumatic situation and polarizing, being a Jan 6er in the beginning.
Now that Guy Reffitt and more than 1,000 other defendants are free, Jackson says he's filled with paranoia about what this pardon could mean. And he's not only moved away from his mom and sisters in Texas, but has since purchased a gun as a means of protection. Jackson Reffitt joins me now. Jackson, first off, I know your father was just released from prison this morning. How are you doing? Do you have plans to speak with him? Have you talked to him?
I'm doing okay. I've taken a lot of precautions in order to get to where I am, to be in the headspace I am, and I've thought about it a lot. It doesn't make it any easier knowing what could happen and what has happened and how none of his actions mattered, I guess, for the damage it caused. I guess I have plans talking to him at some point. Now is not the time. My priority is to be safe and secure and distant so we don't burn any bridges, and that at some point we can work on it. That was my entire plan leading through his prison sentence, was to eventually reconnect with him. But I don't have that time right now, and I can't do it right now with the hate and the fire that has surrounded me over the past couple days. But I've tried with my sisters and it's gone amazing. My mom has been rough and my dad has been hard to, grapple. But, I do have the plans to work on it, but it is scary right now and I don't know how to really move forward.
I'm just looking at all these family pictures of you guys, and then the one of you and your dad when you were a little boy. There's your mom there, but there's another one that I was looking at of you and your father. Do you still love him, Jackson?
Of course. I alerted authorities to help him, my family. If he got in a serious situation and he had to pull his gun and shoot somebody, or he got shot, or one of these days the SWAT was going to bust in the door and he's going to whip out his AR-15 and trade fire, who knows what could have happened. And that's the paranoia that I was dealing with leading up to January 6th and its aftermath. And that's bleeding into right now, my paranoia. I love him and I wanted him to get help in prison, but the only thing he's got is more radicalized. And I was 18 at the time of all this happened, and I was a little ignorant to really what our prison system was capable of. And whenever I sent in a letter to his sentencing requesting mental health help for my father, and I had later learned that he denied it, I was heartbroken. He does not need more contact with these far-right extreme militias that are going to validate him. He needs help, and this pardon is not going to help him. This is going to validate him and justify every action that he has taken leading up to this point. And that's what scares me is who knows what that validation could lead to.
So your dad is actually quoted in court documents threatening you, even calling you a traitor and saying, you know what happens to traitors, traitors get shot. I know you've armed yourself now, but do you think you will actually be forced to use it? Do you really think that your dad will hurt you?
I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to go forward. I don't. Of course, I never want to use this handgun. This handgun is, if I ever have to use it, it will be the worst day of my life. It is not just my father, it's the people he's associated with, the people that don't have this connection to me that will feel more inclined to take action. Those are the real people that scare me. My father has his issues, and he has been physically violent with me and it threatened my life. But the people online are what really terrify me. My father, I have no idea who he is right now, and that scares me. But I don't want to use it. My priority is keeping a distant, my community, and just being safe.
Are you concerned that these pardons could actually galvanize a new level of violence from your dad and other defendants who now feel vindicated and will be free?
Absolutely. After the events of January 6th, my dad came home clicking his heels with him and his other 3%er friend. And that was from something that, even in the moment, was not successful. This is. He got pardoned by the man who led him up those steps, Donald J. Trump, who didn't even know he existed. And now he does, and he reached his hand out and gave him exactly what he wanted. And there's nothing more galvanizing and validating than that, than the man you risked your life for. I would say even beyond his family, is reaching out and helping you and, you know, letting you do all this. He could go buy a gun right now. Even Greg Abbott, I believe, pardoned him. He had a separate charge in Texas. And from my understanding, Greg Abbott has helped Donald J. Trump and my father out and pardoned him with that separate charge. And that is just lunacy. That it cannot be okay. This is not the world that we should be living in. I cannot believe the Democrats shook the hands of Donald Trump and applauded him as he entered the Capitol building. And this is the result, and it is terrifying.
Well, I think of so many families and kids that are, you know, influenced by their parents and take the same path. And you've fought against that and always have done the right thing. And I just appreciate you sticking to knowing what is right, Jackson. And I appreciate you giving us some time today.
Of course, it does help me to talk about. So thank you so much.
It's good for you. I know. I understand that. Sometimes talking about things is the best therapy we can have. Jackson, thank you. And I do want to let folks know that we did reach out to Jackson's dad, Guy Reffitt, for comment. We have not heard back yet.